Imagine being thrown out of a job interview for bringing your baby. Picture being told to choose between your career and having children. Now imagine proving everyone wrong by building a billion-dollar empire while raising 7 children. This isn't fiction. It's the extraordinary true story of Marcus and Isabella Chen. Before you click away thinking this is just another rags to riches fairy tale, let me tell you something. What you're about to hear will completely transform how you think about success, family, and the supposed impossible choices we're told we have to make. The next 35 minutes might just change your life. And if you stay until the end, I'll share the exact 3-step system the Chens used to build their empire while maintaining a thriving family life. A system anyone can implement starting today. 25 years ago, Marcus Chen stood nervously outside a towering glass office building, his hands trembling slightly in a borrowed suit that hung awkwardly on his thin frame. The security guard eyed him suspiciously. This young Asian man with his bright yellow tie didn't match the typical corporate profile. His stomach growled audibly. He'd spent his last $5 on bus fare just to get to this interview. But Marcus carried something more valuable than money: his father's wisdom. An immigrant who worked 3 jobs, his father told him every morning. A man who wins at work but loses at home is not a winner at all. That yellow tie wasn't designer, it was handmade by his grandmother from scraps of fabric. In their culture, yellow symbolized courage. And courage is exactly what Marcus needed when his phone rang mid-interview. His pregnant wife Isabella was in the hospital. Without hesitation, Marcus stood up and headed for the door. The interviewer's face reddened with anger. "If you walk out now, you'll never work in this industry." Marcus didn't break stride. Some choices transcend career. At the same time across town, Isabella Chen was facing her own ultimatum. A brilliant law student on the verge of graduation, she had been interviewing at one of the city's most prestigious firms when morning sickness hit her with brutal intensity. The senior partner, a woman who had sacrificed family for career, looked at Isabella with cold certainty. "You can be a mother or a lawyer, not both. Choose now." Isabella's response. She vomited directly into the woman's designer trash can, then walked out with her head held high. That night, in their tiny apartment with its leaking ceiling and drafty windows, Marcus and Isabella made a promise to each other. They would build careers without sacrificing family. They would create success on their own terms. They didn't have a plan yet, but they had something more powerful: a why. Their first child was coming, and they refused to be forced into false choices. Marcus began coding from their kitchen table, while Isabella studied for the bar exam, often pausing between contractions as her due date approached. Their computer was so outdated it took 20 minutes just to boot up. They shared a single cell phone, passing it back and forth depending on who had the more important calls that day. When their daughter Lily arrived, they couldn't afford a proper crib. She slept in a drawer padded with blankets. The early days tested every limit. Marcus coded through the night, while Isabella breastfed. Isabella drafted legal briefs while Marcus changed diapers. They took turns sleeping in 2-hour shifts, existing in an exhausted haze of diapers, deadlines, and dreams. Friends called them crazy. Family worried they'd burn out. Investors laughed when Marcus showed up to meetings with baby Lily strapped to his chest. Unprofessional, they scoffed. "You'll never get funding acting like a babysitter." But fate has a sense of irony. During one crucial pitch meeting, Lily began crying just as Marcus reached his software demonstration. Instead of apologizing, he simply adjusted her carrier while continuing his presentation without missing a beat. The lead investor, a grandmother herself, leaned forward, intrigued. "Anyone who can multitask like that deserves our money," she declared. Marcus walked out with his first $50,000 in funding, a sum that felt like $50 million to their struggling family. Isabella faced her own battle in the legal world. Law firms operated on a brutal schedule. 80-hour work weeks were the minimum expectation for anyone hoping to make partner. She negotiated something unheard of, a flexible schedule, allowing her to work from home 2 days weekly. Her bosses agreed only because of her exceptional talent, but made it abundantly clear she had permanently derailed her partnership track. Isabella didn't care about titles, she cared about tucking Lily in at night. When their second child, Marcus Jr., arrived, Marcus shocked his investors by taking a full month of paternity leave. His board panicked. Competitors celebrated, certain he'd lost his edge. But Marcus had a different vision. He worked remotely, proving his business model functioned without his physical presence. When he returned to the office, something unexpected had happened. Productivity had actually increased. His employees, inspired by his example, worked with renewed passion, knowing their leader truly valued family. Isabella's legal practice evolved differently than traditional firms. She specialized in helping professionals like themselves, ambitious people seeking success without family sacrifice. Her contracts included revolutionary concepts like mandatory family time and metrics that measured happiness alongside profits. Other attorneys mocked her soft approach until her clients began consistently outperforming companies with traditional models. By the time their third child, Emma, arrived, the Chens had discovered something revolutionary: integration trumped balance. Rather than separating work and family into competing spheres, they blended them seamlessly. Marcus brought his children to the office on Saturdays, letting them draw on whiteboards while he coded. Isabella held client meetings in parks where her children could play nearby. Their home became a laboratory for testing conventional wisdom about success. Then came 2008. The financial crisis hit like a tsunami, washing away the certainties they'd built. Marcus's company lost 60% of its value overnight. Isabella's clients couldn't pay their bills. With 3 young children, now 6, 4 and 2, they gathered around their dinner table for a family meeting. "Money is tight," they explained simply. "We might lose our house, but we'll never lose each other." The children's response still makes Marcus emotional when he tells the story. 6-year-old Lily offered her piggy bank. 4-year-old Marcus Jr. suggested selling his toys. 2-year-old Emma, not fully understanding but wanting to help, held out her beloved stuffed bear. In that moment, the parents realized they'd already succeeded in ways that truly mattered. Through creative sacrifice, they kept their home. Marcus convinced his board to let him slash his salary by 70% in exchange for retaining every employee. Isabella created flexible payment plans for struggling clients, accepting alternative compensation when necessary. Their chef client paid legal fees by teaching the family to cook. A mechanic maintained their car in exchange for contract work. The Chen kitchen transformed into a community center where success was measured in relationships rather than revenue. Their 4th child, David, was born during recovery. By then, Marcus's company had pivoted to focus on remote work software, a decade before COVID made it essential. He implemented policies that seemed radical: unlimited family leave, work from anywhere, Fridays, and expense accounts covering family dinners if business was discussed. His board fought these changes fiercely until they saw the results. Employee turnover dropped to almost zero while top talent began defecting from Google and Facebook to join them. Isabella's firm evolved into something equally revolutionary. She hired single mothers, working fathers, and caregivers of elderly parents. Her office included a nursery, homework room, and meditation space. Court appearances were scheduled around school pickups. Partners shared childcare responsibilities. The legal world watched in amazement as her firm's revenues grew 500% in just 5 years. Their 5th child, Sophia, arrived when skeptics began admitting the Chens might be onto something profound. Harvard Business School dispatched professors to study their methods. Marcus gave them complete access, believing that open-source principles applied to life as much as software. The resulting case study, the Chen model, redefining success, became required reading in business schools worldwide. But with success came new challenges. Their children faced unique pressures at school. Classmates assumed they were entitled rich kids. Teachers expected perfection from the progeny of successful parents. Lily came home in tears when a friend cruelly suggested her father loved money more than her. Marcus's response: he left $1 million acquisition meeting to attend her school play, sitting front row in his business suit, cheering louder than any other parent. The Chen parenting philosophy upended conventional wisdom: teach everything, hide nothing. Their children learned coding alongside cooking, investing alongside empathy. Family meetings resembled corporate boardrooms, where children presented ideas and budgets for approval. 7-year-old Emma once pitched a lemonade stand concept with a 12-slide presentation, including market research she'd conducted during recess. Their sixth child, James, was born with learning disabilities, a development that tested everything they believed about achievement. Traditional metrics of success no longer applied. Marcus and Isabella adjusted their expectations, creating new definitions of victory. James might struggle with reading, but demonstrated extraordinary emotional intelligence. They celebrated his first friendship with the same enthusiasm they showed for his siblings' academic awards. Technology shaped their family life differently than most households. They embraced innovation, but demanded purpose. Screen time required creation, not just consumption. Their children built apps before learning to drive. 12-year-old Marcus Jr. created a chore tracking system that gamified housework. 10-year-old Emma developed a family calendar syncing everyone's activities. Even 6-year-old David coded simple games for his younger siblings. Their seventh and final child, Grace, completed what Isabella jokingly called their lucky 7. By then, the family operated like a perfectly synchronized organism, where everyone had roles but no one had rigid titles. Older children mentored younger ones, younger children kept older ones humble. Parents learned from children as much as they taught them. The Chen household rules reflected their core values. Family dinner is sacred meant all devices went into a basket, conversations remained authentic. Failure as feedback meant mistakes became lessons, not sources of shame. Success as shared meant individual achievements triggered family celebrations. Money as a tool meant wealth enabled impact rather than defining identity. Marcus's company went public when Grace turned 2. The IPO created hundreds of millionaires because Marcus had distributed equity to every employee, from engineers to janitors. His speech at the opening bell ceremony became legendary. "We didn't build a unicorn, we built a family of families." The stock price soared not from hype but substance. Employees who felt valued created genuinely valuable products. Isabella's legal innovations influenced international policy. Her family constitution framework helped countries design family-friendly business legislation. She testified before Congress, bringing baby Grace to the hearing without apology. When senators questioned her professionalism, she calmly explained that excluding parents from policy making guaranteed anti-family policies. The image of her nursing Grace while discussing economic theory went viral, shifting cultural conversations about working mothers. Education in the Chen household defied convention. The children attended public schools through 8th grade to learn diversity, then selected high schools based on individual needs, rather than prestige. College was encouraged, but not mandated. Their second daughter chose culinary school over Yale. Their son selected community college to remain near his girlfriend battling cancer. The parents supported every path aligned with personal values. The teenage years brought unique parenting challenges. Dating in the Chen family meant joining family dinners and engaging in genuine conversations. Boyfriends and girlfriends became extended family members, included in decisions and celebrations. When Lily's first boyfriend cheated, the entire family rallied around her heartbreak. When Marcus Jr. came out as gay, they celebrated with the same enthusiasm they'd shown for his Harvard acceptance letter. Financial transparency began early in their household. Children viewed tax returns, understood budgets, and participated in investment decisions. By age 10, each managed a small portfolio. By 15, they operated micro-businesses. By 18, they comprehended wealth creation and distribution. The family joke was that their children understood compound interest before learning curse words. Health crises tested their resilience repeatedly. Isabella's breast cancer diagnosis at 45 forced brutal honesty. The children, ranging from 7 to 22, participated in treatment discussions. Marcus took a 6-month sabbatical, demonstrating that careers paused for family crises. Lily flew home from medical school. Marcus Jr. delayed his startup launch. The younger children created Mom's healing chart, tracking good days with colorful stickers. Isabella's recovery celebration wasn't a party, but a purpose. They launched a foundation, providing cancer support specifically for working mothers. The first grant went to their longtime house cleaner, diagnosed the same week as Isabella, but without resources for proper treatment. This began their philosophy of parallel philanthropy, experiencing privilege required, extending help to others facing similar challenges without similar resources. Mental health discussions happened as naturally as dental checkups in their home. When 16-year-old Emma developed anxiety, therapy wasn't hidden but highlighted. Her siblings learned coping strategies alongside her. Marcus shared his own therapy journey, breaking cultural stereotypes about Asian men and mental health. Isabella's postpartum depression, after Grace, became a teaching opportunity about brain chemistry versus character weakness. Environmental consciousness influenced every family decision. They drove electric vehicles before they were fashionable. Their home operated on solar power. Vacations prioritized experiences over luxury. When 12-year-old David developed passion for climate activism, the entire family adjusted habits to support his convictions. Their company became carbon negative, absorbing more emissions than it produced. College decisions reflected individual passions rather than parental preferences. Lily chose State Medical School over Johns Hopkins for its community clinic programs. Marcus Jr. selected MIT, but studied social entrepreneurship instead of pure technology. Emma attended a small liberal arts college renowned for mental health advocacy. The parents celebrated each choice equally, hosting admission parties regardless of institutional rankings. The Chen investment strategy emphasized patience over immediate profit. Their portfolio balanced traditional stocks with social enterprises. They invested in companies aligned with family values, accepting lower returns for higher impact. When offered insider trading opportunities, they used family meetings to discuss ethics. The children learned that integrity compounded faster than interest. Extended family integration multiplied their impact exponentially. Grandparents lived in attached units, providing wisdom while receiving care. Cousins collaborated on projects. Aunts and uncles became mentors. Family reunions resembled startup incubators, where ideas cross-pollinated. Their annual Chen Summit featured business pitches alongside baby announcements. Dating rules in the Chen household prioritized character over credentials. Potential partners joined family volunteer projects before fancy dinners. They participated in game nights before exclusive events. When Marcus Jr. So boyfriend proposed, he'd already spent 3 Thanksgivings washing dishes and 2 Christmases playing Santa at their community center. The family's approval meant more than any diamond ring. Career pivots were celebrated, not discouraged. When Lily abandoned her prestigious residency to join Doctors Without Borders, her parents threw a goodbye party. When Emma quit law school to become a therapist, they funded her transition. When David chose firefighting over finance, they purchased his first uniform. Success meant finding purpose rather than following predetermined paths. The pandemic proved their foresight. While others scrambled to adapt, the Chens seamlessly shifted online. Their company's remote infrastructure handled increased demand. Their homeschooling experience helped neighbors struggling with virtual learning. Isabella's court cases continued virtually. Instead of hoarding resources, they organized neighborhood support networks, demonstrating that crisis reveals character. Succession planning began early, but evolved organically. Marcus groomed leaders throughout his company, not just at the top. Isabella trained associates to become partners, competitors to become collaborators. Their children understood inheritance meant responsibility. Some joined family businesses, others created their own. All carried forward core values of integration and impact. As grandchildren arrived, the Chens adapted once again. Marcus's CEO office transformed into a nursery when needed. Isabella's court preparations included grandchild entertainment. Adult children living globally maintained connection through technology and tradition. Sunday dinners happened virtually when necessary, preserving rituals despite distance. On his 60th birthday, Marcus redefined his success metrics. I measure wealth by relationships maintained, not just money accumulated. Success by lives touched, not just goals reached. Legacy by values transmitted, not just assets transferred. The room, filled with employees who'd become family, and family who'd become partners, gave him a standing ovation that lasted 5 full minutes. Isabella's legal legacy lived through legislation more than litigation. Her frameworks influenced family law in 30 countries. Her mentees became judges and professors. Her writings reshaped how society structured success. When offered the Supreme Court nomination she dreamed of as a young lawyer, she declined, believing grassroots change created greater impact than judicial power. The Chen children's adult achievements reflected their integrated upbringing. Lily's medical practice included financial counseling and family therapy. Marcus Jr. So tech companies mandated paternity leave and on-site child care. Emma's mental health clinics operated on sliding scales. David's firefighting career expanded to include community education. Sophia's restaurants employed former inmates. James's learning disability advocacy transformed educational policies. Grace's environmental consulting required client carbon neutrality. Their neighborhood transformation demonstrated compound impact over decades. The corner store they frequented while poor became a community center they funded when wealthy. The bus stop where Marcus caught rides to interviews transformed into a transit hub they helped modernize. The park where Isabella studied for the bar evolved into an outdoor classroom they endowed. Success meant extending the ladder after climbing it. Evening family reflections evolved with technology while maintaining intimacy. Group text shared daily gratitudes. Video calls connected global members. Their custom family app tracked achievements and challenges. In-person gatherings happened monthly, rotating locations to share hosting responsibilities. The ritual of reflection started in their leaking apartment, continued in multiple homes across continents. Marcus's retirement shocked Wall Street, but not his family. At 65, he transitioned his CEO role to employees through an innovative ownership trust. His final board meeting included his entire family, demonstrating that corporate governance and family values could coexist perfectly. His successor, a single mother he'd hired as a junior programmer 20 years earlier, embodied their belief in potential over pedigree. Isabella's practice evolution inspired legal industry transformation. She shifted from billable hours to value-based pricing. Her firm's sabbatical program allowed attorneys to pursue passion projects. Her parental leave policies exceeded Scandinavian standards. When competitors copied her models, she celebrated their adoption, believing abundant success philosophies created abundant success realities. Today at their 50th anniversary celebration, surrounded by 7 children, 14 grandchildren, and hundreds whose lives they've touched, Marcus and Isabella share their ultimate secret. Success isn't about having it all, it's about being it all.
They never separated their identities into artificial compartments. They remained parents in boardrooms and executives at soccer games. They brought their whole selves to every moment, refusing to fragment their lives into false choices. Standing there, Marcus still wearing a yellow tie, and Isabella still radiating the strength that once intimidated law firms. They embody the truth that the greatest success comes from integration, not separation. They didn't balance work and family, they fused them into something stronger than either alone. They didn't climb ladders, they built bridges. They didn't create wealth, they created wealthy lives. So what's their formula? Here are the 3 principles anyone can implement starting today. First, reject false choices whenever someone tells you with or look for. And second, integrate rather than separate. Stop compartmentalizing your life into competing segments. Third, measure success by relationships, not just results. The wealth that matters most can't be deposited in banks. If this story resonated with you, don't just click away inspired. Take action now. In the comments below, share one false choice you've been told you have to make: career or family, money or meaning, success or sanity. Then tell us how you're going to reject that choice starting today. Join our community of people refusing to accept artificial limitations. Subscribe to get more stories of revolutionary success. And remember, the only limits to your success are the ones you accept. The Chens refuse them all. What about you?